We brought together 7 strangers, protected their identities, and created a space for them to be completely honest.
That's what I want to hear.
What will be revealed when they take the mask off?
Yup. Keep it a buck.
Everyone is racist, including me.
Low key. Low key. They got a button?
Nobody wants to think of themselves as racist, and I don't think that I'm racist in the way that I think we think about racism, but I think I took the question as these, inherent biases that everybody has, and I think most of the time, most people are not aware of this. It's weird. I think there's this new generational divide of you are a racist or you said a racist thing. And I don't know where the line is. You might say something a little racist or something you don't see as racist, someone calls you out and you're like, oh, I'm so sorry, apologize. And if you argue that point against them, then I would say you're a racist. But if you understand, you come to understanding, you learn, everyone should be able to forgive that person and be like, no, you made a mistake. People make mistakes. I don't know. I feel like it's a binary. Yeah.
So I think a really important thing that kind of is tough with cancel culture right now is that road to redemption. And so after you've said something wrong, how do you make yourself right again in the public sphere? At least personally, I feel like I don't see that a lot with cancel culture. Is if someone makes amends, there's now an acceptance hey, you did something wrong, but you're okay now, or at least better.
I think social media kind of incentivizes.
To that point, because I do feel him on that, but it's it comes off as not genuine because you said what you said, and a lot of times people don't apologize because they, somebody pulled them to the side and they had a heart-to-heart conversation and somebody, revealed information to them that they weren't aware of or XYZ. It was, I don't like the way people are perceiving what I said. Let me go back and clean that up so people aren't mad anymore. That's what happens most of the time. So it's hard to tell when something is genuine and when something is not. And as a general rule of thumb, if somebody says something that doesn't necessarily put them in the best light and then they get backlash from it, I'm more inclined to believe the initial thing that they said is what they actually believe, is what they actually do. What you do when you think nobody's watching, you think nobody sees, or you think it's okay to say certain things, that's how you actually feel. Most people don't apologize like, yeah, what I said was out of line. Are you sorry you did it, or are you sorry you got caught? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Now, who is the judge, or who's the morality judge? I don't know. Who's giving who says yes and who says no if it's not God? What human is saying, oh, that person deserves XYZ and that person doesn't? Fair point. But in terms of how people view you, it doesn't seem very genuine a lot of the times when people do apologize. It doesn't seem that you're sorry for what you did. It just seems sorry that you got caught doing what you were doing.
Is against redemption, and I feel like it's just outrage, and I do think people do like the rush of anger. I don't think people really believe in redemption anymore. I just disagree with the idea of racism as a binary. It kind of goes back to that really old meme where Skipper says we did it, Mrs. Obama, racism is over. The idea of a redemption is just all right, they've fixed their racism, in the sense that I think the redemption that our society is calling for is impossible. It's almost like you need to write a check every time you make a racism, and that will absolve you of your thing, where I think what we should be doing is the idea of growth towards a better understanding.
Was there something? What else did I want to say before we get on to the next one? I just think, and I also do think it depends. If I say, I guess I said everything I wanted to say, but let's just say, for example, if I say all white people are trash, right? And then, I post it, people see it, I get comments, and then I go back and say, you know what? I don't think all white people are trash. I was wrong. I was sorry. There's no reason for me to think that you actually... it's like if somebody committed a crime and it's you know what, yo, police, Mulligan, my fault. That's on me though. That's my fault. I know I was doing wrong. A lot of times people know they're doing wrong already. Ignorance is a very different concept, and I think there is a part of the internet that is very unforgiving, but ignorance is a very different concept than being blatantly disrespectful and having your, your blatantly biased beliefs, and it just depends.
Both with my sexuality.
I've struggled with my sexuality. Listen, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna be real. Never have I ever once, and this is honest to God, I have never once had the desire to fuck another grown man. Or fuck any males. I have never had the desire to fuck anything that is not a human woman. Or a human woman that was my age at the time. Like if I was 14, maybe I was feeling another 14-year-old. You get what I'm saying? But I do acknowledge when another grown man looks good. You know what I'm saying? Niggas can say that's gay if they want to. That's cool. I'm not really mad. I'm like, oh, nah, that's a good looking dude. You know what I'm saying? Respect. You know what I'm saying? But that's the extent that the thought goes. Nah, that's a handsome dude. You know what I'm saying? The nights drip. The hair look good. The skin is clean. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's not many features that you can separate and say, like, if a man looks good, it's gonna be a lot of the same thing that makes a woman look good. If they look healthy, if they're in shape, if they're in shape, if they have good, clear skin, nice teeth, well dressed, good confidence, so it's a lot. Attractiveness is not really, it isn't very much on the male to woman, on the male to woman scale. So, I can acknowledge when I feel like somebody looks nice, and then that's it. But I've never struggled with my sexuality at any point. And if I did, I would dead ass keep it a buck. I'm like, damn, I ain't gonna lie. I dead thought about fucking a nigga a couple times. I experimented. But honest to God, I never did. And if you did, you gotta say your truth. Like, the truth is the truth. You gotta say your truth. Don't lie.
Attraction to men really young, and I didn't connect to gay culture at all. And I was like, I'm either straight or gay. It can't be another one. So I very consciously put myself in the closet, and I didn't feel confidence to like be my own person. Obviously in high school, and slowly but surely, I started to come out to more people and talk about my experience and stuff. But people come out of the closet, that's one thing. That's the second step. The first step is like really kind of like acknowledging it and like loving yourself, and that was the hardest part for me. And I'm pretty good now. I'm happy and bi. Now very comfortable with my sexuality, and I know it's a spectrum, but I think I'm for the most part straight. I struggled with depression for a long time.
Is sexuality a spectrum? I guess. Like, the fact that I acknowledge when another grown, or not like verbally, I don't go up to them and be like, oh, you're handsome, you're a beautiful man. Like, but I'm like, oh, nah, good looking human. Does that put me like at, like, let's say straight was 5 and let's say gay was -5. Am I like a 3.5 because of that? Because I do know a lot of men, they be like, yo, I ain't never seen no man look good. Every man ugly to me. Facts. Every man ugly to me. That's cool for you. I don't, like, that's cool for you. Like, do I fully believe that? Not really. Not really. You can't sit up here and tell me that if you see a motherfucker that's 600 pounds, bad acne, bad skin, bad hygiene, and you see a nigga that look like fucking Kelly Oubre, there's no way you go, like, if your girl chilling with the dude from the 600-pound life with all the acne, just super, big, unkept, smelling bad, versus if she chilling with Kelly Oubre, you gonna feel the same way? Like, yo, like, what's up though? What's up with dude though? Like, him, I'm chilling on, whatever. Like, he's 600 pounds. He probably can't even get it up. If anything, he probably can't even get it up. You 600 pounds, no way your shit rock. No way your shit get rocked. No way. No way your shit get rocked. But Kelly Oubre, it's like, whoa, what's going on? What's up? Talk to me. Give it a buck. Whatever.
I think one of the side effects of that for me was I fell into an eating disorder, and I got really skinny, and because I was struggling with an eating disorder, it made me, for some reason, question my sexuality. And I understand how messed up that is now. I started to ask myself, why did you associate that one with the other? And I think it was because it's just not largely talked about with straight men that we can still struggle with mental health and eating disorders.
I have a very core memory, somebody might say, of me walking in to my house after the first day of first grade, and I'm just like, hey mom, I think I have a crush on my friend. And my mom kind of laughed, and she's like, oh, boys don't have crushes on boys. And I was like, cool, got it, awesome. Just put that in the back of my mind, and I'm still working with like the idea that if I have a crush on a man, that's not inherently disgusting, because what's more disgusting than a man wanting you? Or like you said, like connecting to the gay community, unless you fit like it seems the tiniest of boxes, is really hard. And even now, like I went out last night and I had somebody that I kind of like caught my eye, but I had no idea how to approach that. It's like everybody else got like a manual and like 17 easy steps to not have social anxiety when in the club. And I'm just like, I guess I was sick that day. I didn't get that class. I didn't sign up for it on LinkedIn. Just, sorry, I'm using humor to cover it up.
I went up to a guy and said, you're so handsome. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds like I'm an old woman. You know, they're like, you're so handsome.
It's one of those things where it's like, oh, obviously don't say that. But it's like, okay, but then what do you say? It's like, do I not think that he's handsome? I don't know.
Have you ever been confused by consent before?
Have I ever been confused by consent? In terms of how it related to my personal life, I've never been confused by consent. Never been confused by consent. Nope. I don't even really have much to say. Like, my men women interactions are very mutual. Like, I'm not even really the dude to really be like applying 80% of the pressure. Like, I might go 60-40. I might even go 65-35 tops. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going 85-15. Like, you know, a lot of interactions, like every escalate, I need a physical consent. You know what I mean? If I lean 10, I need her to lean 15. Then I'll go 15. Then I need 20. Then I'll go the rest of the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, usually in those type of situations, like, she initiate, like, in terms of when it gets like to that point where, like, you know what I mean, to the end game, like home base, like, it's usually like she on me, like she doing this and she taking X things off. So I've never really been in a position to where, and I've never feel like I've been in a position to where consent has been a thing that I've been confused by.
There have been instances where, you know, in terms of friends, relationships, whatever, I can go too far because I misinterpreted consent, and just because people seem comfortable with something, you kind of go along with it.
Yeah, I think the reason I said yes was just thinking very specifically about situations where both of us have been really drunk or something like that, where it's like, it's not one person's sober and the other person's drunk and the drunk person's saying yes, but if you're both drunk and both consenting and into it in the moment, and then the next day, like, I've had like neither of us really consented. Is anybody in the wrong here? You know, and so that's kind of what I thought of when I heard I've been confused about consent. It's not as much in the moment, but after the fact in that scenario.
Jack, that situation is pretty scary because you interpret it one way, and if someone was hurt and you didn't mean to do that, and you didn't take the precautions for that, you're still at fault. And that sucks. And I'm not saying that's your situation.
Yeah.
It's like that's the kind of world we live in, where we can really get in trouble sometimes, even when we don't mean to.
100%.
Everything sucks.
Yeah, I think that's the whole thing about consent is it's not always just like this guy being like, oh, come on. Like, there's such a fine
Right? No, I do agree with that though. The line is not, it's not as fine as a line as you would think. Like, not like, okay, like you have a line, right? So let's say on this side of the line where you have a piece of paper. It's like, do you consent to sexual intercourse? And she's like, yes. You videotape her saying yes, and you videotape her, writing it down. The way on the other end of the spectrum, she's saying, no, please stop, I'm hurting, I don't want this, please, crying, and it's, being forced upon her. Then you have like the line is where it's like, I guess you could say a situation where you're both drunk, or you could say a situation to where like if you're in a relationship, right? If you're in a relationship, like there definitely can be times where like one person doesn't really want to do it, like never really never really consents. Like I can't say that I've consented every single time that something has went down. I can't say that I've fully consented. Not to say that I didn't want it. I'm just saying I didn't consent. So it's just like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like I didn't consent. So it's just like, I mean, like where's that line? Because I could have easily said, nah, I didn't want that. Like you type violated type shit. You know what I mean? But like you in a relationship, like there are some unspoken teas, and there's some, non-spoken nuances that go on, and it's like, if that's your partner, it's not really as big of a deal. It's just like, like whatever, like, they're making advances and you kind of just going along with it. You didn't necessarily say I want it. So it's, I mean, there's some nuances to it.
And there's so many gray areas that it's really important to have those conversations because, there can be so many different scenarios that are still non-consensual. So
Women have more power than me.
It's a very vague question, but women have more power than me. I wouldn't say so. I don't think women have more power than me. I think if we're gonna just speak very man and women, and we're gonna speak in very generalities, and I'm gonna speak in generalities, and I would say the potential life that I can live, I feel like is far greater than probably what most women have the potential to do in terms of me being a man. And I think the potential of being a man is probably higher, speaking in generalities, than the potential of being a woman, just because a lot of societal things. Plus, I just think being a top man is better than probably being a top woman. Not saying that I'm a top man, but in terms of when you speak power, I'm speaking about potential. So I would say no, I don't think women have more power than me. But I wouldn't necessarily say that I have more power than women, because women do have a lot of power. So
yeah, I definitely don't think women have more power. And I think some people might think that just because you're seeing growing relative power that, some men might not be used to. Now that women are kind of getting closer to being equal, some people that might feel like they're getting more power and they might be more powerful. And so I can understand why someone might, perceive that as relative, but absolutely I don't agree that women have more power. I think we're getting closer to equality at this point where it's a work in progress.
I don't know. It's like a yes and no question. I was harassed by a superior who was a woman at a previous job, repeatedly harassed. I reported it to my boss, who was a white male, and he just laughed it off and said, toughen up, Buttercup. When women are harassed, I think if I was a woman and I reported harassment, especially right now with Me Too and everything, CEO would see a huge red flag, a huge possible controversy, and I know there's definitely, ways when that isn't true, but for me it was just we don't care. You're a man, tough.
Yeah, but we do have to be fair though. Let's just take percentages. The percentage of women that get brutally assaulted sexually by men is significantly higher than it's hard for me to even imagine a situation where a woman can like brutally, like, you know what I mean? Like if it's a line of like consent, he's like, I don't really want it, but she's kind of like but like if the man is like, no, I don't want this, like I can't really imagine a situation where that goes down, where the woman is just like, you know. So it's really more about the danger of it, you know what I mean? Because if a man is harassing a woman, like the potential danger, like worst case scenario, like that situation can go far left, and like somebody could really get hurt, somebody could really get scarred. A woman harass a man, like what's the worst that could really happen? Like it's like, what's the worst? Like you feel uncomfortable, who gives a, like who really cares? Like let's just keep it a buck. Like, oh, you're uncomfortable, grow up. Like you're not about to get brutally assaulted. That's not about to happen. It's just not about to happen. Like it's just not. So it's understandable. It is understandable.
I don't give a like, she's a woman, she can't harass you. And it was really hard. I'm sorry. And I was really scared, and like if I didn't have some, you know, good women in my life and some good people, I wouldn't have taken action. I would have just toughened up, and I would have let it kill me inside. I'm sorry that happened. I'm so sorry that it's happened.
I've had fantasies.
Hey, yo. Hey.
I've had
And if I did, would I say that on camera? If I actually did, would I say that? I don't know. It's 50-50. I might be like, yeah, I might, but I haven't. But it's just like, who's going to really, like, my identity is not concealed. So obviously I have a agenda. But I honestly thought about it. I've honestly thought I've never had a fantasy of doing that. Like, no, not at all. You know, but I mean, it's just like, you know.
fantasies.
Oh, okay. So I said yes because, like, I can't think of a specific time, but, like, I believe I have at one point. It's more like role-playing under very strict guidelines and with the understanding that my partner will stop if I ever get too uncomfortable. In terms of, like, fantasizing about actually doing the very illegal and immoral act, no. But I think, you know, like, role-playing, or even like the fiction you read, or even like to a certain extent, as long as it's ethically made, porn, like, it's exploring that healthfully, I think, is valid, and it's something that I think I have done in the past. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I like it.
Statistically, one of us is lying. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 males, right? 8 of us. Statistically, one of us is lying. Now, which one of the 8? You know, that's for you to decide. But statistically, one of us is lying, because all 8 of us pretty much said none of us has ever thought about actually doing the actual thing. Now, role play, whatever, that's different. That's not actually doing it, but, you know, statistically, one of us is lying. You know?
Explore it in porn, but, like, personally, no. Like, it freaks me out too much. You know, I do have, like, this kind of feel of wanting to be dominated by a man, you know, or a woman. That's more in porn than, like, in real life. I feel like I'd be freaked out in real life if that happened. But so in this situation where you're doing this, like, with your partner that you stated, are you the person that is receiving this idea of, you're saying, am I playing the role of the assailant or the victim? Yeah, okay. The role I'm playing would be that of the assailant. Okay. And my partner would be the victim. due to like so.
I'm trying to think though. Is that like? I'd have to see it. I'd have to see it, cause like, how far is it going? Like, are you really acting, or is it really like, I don't know.
Anxiety and like just a lot of things that keep me like a more like docile and submissive person. I like exploring a more dominant side via power dynamics in a safe environment, obviously.
When you're assaulted, like sexually assaulted, you don't have a choice in the matter, but when you are role playing it, you can say, like a safe word, and that kind of, you have the control. But when it's that control's robbed from you, it messes with you. I think that's the distinction with the role play.
I feel like we kind of have a misunderstanding here. I at least think that it's really insensitive, at least, to be doing these role plays, because you will never be able to feel what these people feel, and like it kind of it's off shifting to know that that's something desired.
I understand that, and like I said, it is something like obviously I've never experienced it, and so my fantasy kind of might come from like a position of privilege, and I think that's why I'd like to explore it in a healthy way to figure out like why exactly I feel that way. And I understand like from the outset, and even like as I explain it, it has the potential to sound like incredibly like jarring and
the way you're explaining it though, like that's why I'm asking you questions, because I can instantly assume that you're a person, but now that I see the way you spoke to me, and you obviously have some feelings about it that you've thought to yourself over time, so like I just want to I appreciate that. But and I think that the way we handled it is kind of a good way to communicate with others and understand issues.
I appreciate the way you ask the questions and stuff like that.
Thank you.
I have been abused.
Have I been abused? Cruelty. Okay, of a person or animal treated with cruelty or violence, especially regularly or repeatedly. Let's look up cruelty. Callous, indifferent to or pleasure in causing pain and suffering. I would say no, especially regularly or repeated. No, I've never been regularly or repeatedly treated with cruelty or violence. I've never actually been treated with debatable. For respect of people who actually have been abused, I'm gonna say no. Cause I could play with definitions and stuff like that, and like, you know what I mean, unknowns and variables. But on the, to respect the people who have actually been abused, I'm gonna just say a hard no. Hard no.
Yeah, I mean, I just said yes. I've been going through it. You go through it. No, I think I've just been abused two ways. And abused is can mean so many things. So I've been abused emotionally in a relationship, but not physically or sexually, but definitely emotionally. And then I've been abused as like an employee to an employer. Again, not sexually or physically, but just abused their power over me. As I talked about, I got harassed by an older female employee, and working through it, it's always a process. I don't know.
My family, we've endured emotional, physical abuse from my father, and I'm sure a lot of people can, attest and say the same things. And he lives in a whole other country now, so I don't really talk to him. I need that guidance. When I'm going from 14 to 18 years old, that's like a really influential time. So it's really hard to have to deal with that on your own. The worst part was when I told him about some of the issues I had, because I didn't have him because of the way he, hurt me. He kind of just said, that's your fault. Like, you can't blame me for that and put it on me. I think this kind of ties into, I want to bring it in how sometimes I feel like as a white man, I can't really talk about my problems because you're always been taught to suck it up. And I'm sure all of us have been told that multiple times in your life. Suck it up. Buttercup, I heard over here one, so.
As a man, generally, I would probably agree. But as a white man, like, do you think other ethnicities of men can complain at a higher rate than white men? I would definitely disagree. I do understand that, a lot of black people do talk about systemic racism. I feel like a lot of people who have never experienced systematic racism, well, I guess the idea of systematic racism is that you're gonna experience it by default, like automatically you're gonna experience it. But I feel like people who haven't really experienced racism in a relevant way always talk about, you know, systematic racism and, you know, kind of leeching off of somebody else's experience, you know, and it's kind of just accepted because of, you know, whatever the situation is. Because, you know, I just feel that that's the case. Like, I don't feel that I've experienced any. That's not true though. Like, not directly, but like indirectly. I guess. I think, okay, so here's what I will say. I think black people at times can stretch, you know, the effects that have been placed on them. And I do think that, you know, I guess it is harder in general for white men to complain, but they do it though. White men, maybe. I give them that. Maybe.
I remember with your boss telling you that, you know, that wasn't valid, and that's not fair.
I don't think just because you're a man or white.
Why would you put their name? Oh, so we know which one. You should have just put numbers on top of their head. You'd be like, hold on, Austin? Austin. Scrawny Austin with the fucked up hair and the weird ears and he always wearing that same baggy ass t-shirt. That's all. I know Austin. Like, you might want to just put 1, 2, 3. I think that would have been better.
You can't be abused. I was told that growing up. I think abuse kind of requires a power dynamic, and like, even like all of us, we're white men. There's always somebody above us. There's a richer, whiter man, I guess. So like, what is exactly the top? Because there's always somebody, I think, above us to abuse us, and that's just not really talked about.
Really quickly, I just want to do one thing. There's going to be no talking. It's the last question I have, and you cannot elaborate on your opinion either way. Is the era of white men is over?
Disagree. No explanation either. I'm not explaining. No explanation. What are they gonna say? Five agree. I disagree. The era of the white man. If you can't, it's because it's like, see, all right, like it's. The era of the white man, the way we know it in America, it won't ever be the same. But what does that mean though? Like, let's say if I said the era of LeBron James is over, right? What does that mean? Like, does that mean LeBron is retiring? Or is LeBron still gonna be great? Is just the LeBron that we know and love is no longer gonna be? Like, what does that mean? The era of the white man is over. Like, you know, like if you could just based off of the way society and all of that, like if you could spawn, not taking into consideration, well, if you could choose anything to be, right? If you were nothing, if you were like just a soul, and based on, you know, the perks and stuff like that, what player build would you pick? I would say most people would pick white man. I think white man is a great player build, man. I think it is. It's not like 100% always great, you know, but I think one thing for me that even growing up middle class that I dislike, but that's not very different. Well, I'll say this generally. Growing up as a middle class black person, even like middle class, like not upper middle class, but not lower, like middle class, like in the middle of the middle class, I would say that a lot of people, like, it's not like my whole family's middle class. Like, a lot of my family is poor or lower middle or very low middle class. I still think the way that we eat, we still eat kind of like slaves. Like, we eat like we don't got no fucking sense. We eat like we don't have no motherfucking sense. The fact that motherfuckers will eat more mac and cheese in a day than eat vegetables in a month, that shit pisses me off. And then niggas be trying to cheat. Niggas be trying to find little sneaky sideways. Like, bruh, ain't nothing you do. You buying. Alright, this is getting too personal. But you still buying snacks with less sodium. That's not about to do. You buying Diet Coke. You eating at McDonald's and getting a Diet Coke. That ain't about to do nothing for you. There is nothing that you can do to replace drinking the right amount of water you need to drink, eating at least 1 or 2 servings of fruits and vegetables every single day, and exercising at least every other day, if not every day. There's nothing that you can do to replace that. All these little tricks and remedies and little whatevers, and it ain't about to replace that. You cannot supplement that. But it depends on what you want to do. Because it's just like, to me, it's just a little contradicting. It's just like niggas is moving like they want to live maybe another like another 5 healthy, another 10 total. That's how niggas is moving. If that's what you want, cool. If that's what you want, cool. But don't be like, don't bullshit. Don't bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Cause you're not trying. You're not really trying for real. And it's not like you don't know what to do. You know what to do. It's different than like trying to be a millionaire, because it's just like you don't really have the full blueprint. Like, okay, what do I do right now to become a millionaire? Okay. Well, you can open a business. How do you even open a business? I don't even know how to do taxes or a checkbook or none of that. But you know how to eat healthy. Straight up and down. You need to drink a certain amount of, you probably should drink a gallon. Probably get that gallon in. You probably know you need to eat certain fruits and vegetables every day. You probably know you need to work out every day. Like, that's not no mystery. Like, how to be a millionaire, like, that's a little bit of a more difficult path. Like, and I don't want to make excuses for myself, because I'm going to get there regardless, but it's just like, I don't necessarily know what's the next move, per se. You probably should work, you probably should save, you probably should invest. Okay, invest in what? What am I investing in? I don't know. Saving for what? What am I saving for? Oh, you should probably have real estate. What real estate? How do I know which real estate to buy? You buy a course. Like, there's more steps. Like, there's more steps to, whatever you're trying to do. You got to buy the course. Then you got to make the course work for you. And then you got to, like, network and all these things. And it's more about, who you are as a person and how developed you are as a human. Versus, I mean, is that different than eating healthy? I find it extremely easy to be healthy. But maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just my vice. You know what I mean? I find it extremely easy to drink smoothies every day. To drink a lot of water every day, to snack on fruits and veggies, or mostly fruits, like grapes and oranges. And are those the best snacks? Maybe, maybe not, but they're fruits. Like, I'll live with that. And then exercise multiple times, a week, as much as you can. Fun cardio, whatever that is for you. I get up every morning, I do X amount of push-ups, I do X amount of sit-ups. It's not like, it's not a lot necessarily. I get up in the morning, I stretch, I do 75 push-ups, I do my planks, I drink my smoothie. And then maybe later I play ball. Like, that's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. How much effort does that really take? Like, you're not about to put in, like, let's say, okay, I get up, I stretch, and I push-ups, plank. Let's just say that takes, how long does that actually take? How long does that actually take? Let's say half an hour. Takes me half an hour to do my push-ups and my planks. Okay. Then I got my stuff for my smoothies. I buy my whatever. I buy the stuff I need for my smoothie. I come back home, I make my smoothie. How long does that take? Maybe after I'm showered, like leaving the door, maybe another 30 minutes. An hour, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty much done. If I play ball that day, that's really bonus. It's not really a lot you need to do to be healthy. It's just a lot you can't do. You can't eat certain things. You can't eat egregiously. But to be a millionaire, it's a lot different. But apparently, more people in the United States are millionaires than have a six-pack. I don't know how true that is, but you know. Obviously, I'm rambling. I honestly don't even know what the fuck the question was. Oh yeah. I know how I got here. But anyway, I don't know how much I'm leaving in there, but yeah, I'm done talking. I've talked already too much.